Everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning from wherever you're hearing us from. My name is Sam. I'm from Manitoba in Canada. So a little bit about my background. I graduated from the University of Manitoba in 2018. Right now, I'm working as a swine production research technician at Glenley Research Station, which is attached to the university. I work currently with swine. This morning, I'll be covering networking opportunities, support, and services available for students and career pathways in agriculture. So I encourage everyone listening right now to ask their questions, and we'll be very happy to answer them. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, our dearest panelists, for the awesome introduction. So we'll move straight to the discussion. Before I continue, I'll also, like everyone has said, please ask your questions, make your out. So you would be answering questions regarding understanding the admission processes. So can you give us insights, like a step-by-step process on how to go about the admission process, like irrespective of Canada, US, or wherever, like an overview of this process? Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Roseline. The first thing I would say regarding admission process is your documents is actually very important. Depending on what you are applying for, if you are applying for maybe master's or PhD program in Canada, even United States, or even in China, depending on the country you are applying for. So there are different methods in which you can get admission into the university. Majorly for master's and PhD, the first step, and I would say the major step, is securing a supervisor, which is the major issue, even in China, any country. So the first thing you need to do is to secure supervisor, depending on the kind of project you want to do. And how can you secure supervisor? Most of these supervisor, you will find them on the school websites. In United States, they use PI. They refer to them as like PI. They don't really use supervisor like Canada and China. So you go to the university websites, depending on the course you are planning to do, maybe animal science, for example, you go to animal science section, then you look for faculty. Some people will refer to them as faculty, some will refer to them as staff. Then you try to search. When you search, you will see some can be like adjunct professors. You will see some professors, assistant professor. It's always good to reach out to the assistant or the associate professor, because most time the full professors are actually very busy. And for them to respond to you, it might really take a lot of efforts. But for the assistant professor, they are still in the growing stage. You reach out to the assistant professor or the associate professor, and you try to ask them if they have any available opportunity in their lab. And in reaching out to them, there is a way you also write the emails. So it's not generic, because when we go on media these days, we see so many generic emails that when those supervisors even see the emails, they know that, oh no, you are not really saying the right thing. So in reaching out to them, you don't need to start with "my name is this." They are not interested in your name. Tell them about what you've been doing over the years, how your past experience relates to their current work in their laboratory, and tell them how you will love to join their lab. Then that process, I try to summarize it because of our time. So if you are able to secure a supervisor, then the next step is now gathering your admission documents, and your transcript is actually very important. For you to get a PhD or master's, because I've studied in China before, so I can easily talk about China, also Canada and United States. For you to get in, for your transcript is actually very important. For people in Nigeria, I don't know of other, for people in Nigeria, majorly, like most supervisors, they prefer people that graduated with first class or second class upper. So, and the one thing you need to know is, as you don't need to limit yourself. For United States, I have so many people with second class upper that are able to get PhD directly. They don't even need to do masters, direct admission to PhD. So you don't need to limit yourself. Most important thing, your grade is actually important. I would say, I would not call it, I would say 50% factor your grade. Then the next thing that is also important is your research experience, what you can do. Some people, what they are on paper is different from who they really are. If you have the research experience, you've really done this, not that you are really lying about it, but it's what you can do. Because most of these supervisors will conduct interviews. I have an experience with one of my friends when he was trying to get a PhD scholarship to Canada. The supervisor had to give him some data to go and do, just to test his programming skills. He will give him some data, do some coding, first one, second one. They were doing it over 3 months. But because this guy just lied in his CV that, oh, he's good in coding and all that, so he couldn't cope, right? He had to pull out from the interview. So most of these guys will really test your research skills because that's what they need, right? Yeah, so I've talked about your grade. Then your grade is important, your research skill is important, and the third aspect is your letter of intent as well. It's also important, and there's no big deal about letter of intent. It's all about what you've done over the years. Just tell them. You don't need to lie about anything. Just be real. I used to say something that your story is always unique. Just tell your story. You can't tell another person's story, right? But just be unique. Yeah. So I think I will need to stop there right now. Yeah. I hope I've not confused you. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much for that elaborate explanation, specifically on the getting supervisors and reaching out to them, as well as your letter of intent. Remember, your story is unique. Your story is unique. And as much as possible, just like you said, be sincere, because they'll find a way of finding out if what you said is actually true or not. So yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Fisayo, for that explanation. So over to you, Dr. Ken. Can you just let us know about the available scholarships, grants? Because if I'm looking for a supervisor, I should know what is available for me, like what they have and the like. So tell us more about the scholarships, grant, and financial aid options available for international students. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Roseline. And there are lots of things that Dr. Fisayo actually mentioned, which I agree to, and I would actually buttress a few things up. I will say that a lot of things actually changed from 2019 after COVID actually hit. And because of that, you realize that a lot of the scholarships that were actually rolling out were mostly inbuilt, in the sense that it was actually in-house here in Canada, and it's very difficult to actually get people from outside. So from the points that Dr. Fisayo made, that I would say you would have to actually contact supervisors and all of those things, becomes a major aspect when you want to actually get an admission or something. You would have to actually get a supervisor. But before I come to that, I will state that there are two main points where you can actually gain funds. So funds are actually coming from the government, and then we have the private or industry aspects. These government funds actually goes into research, and these research, they actually have to competitively apply to gain these funds to conduct their research. So for example, with the research that I'm conducting now, we wrote a proposal, we submitted our proposal, we gained funds for that proposal, for that research. And so we started the project. And so the funds that are available for that project is what is being dished out to me as my stipends, where we would have to actually recruit other personnel to join on board in that particular project. So I would say that the funds goes to the professors, the supervisors, the PIs that have been mentioned. So in that sense, if you want to actually gain a scholarship, you would have to actually, first of all, contact a supervisor to try and find out if he has a project ongoing, a project that is about to start with available funds, because that funds is what will be given to you as your stipend that would sustain you. Yeah. So that is the first aspect of it. And there are lots of things that Dr. Fisayo actually mentioned that goes into that whole process. But where is the money? That is where the money is. There is also another source where you can actually gain the money, and that is the university also has some funds available. So you can hear of, I'll say, individuals who actually donate huge sums to the universities. And so sometimes you can get some scholarship that would carry you through probably your first year or your second year. So the universities themselves have scholarships. And there are, I'll say, some programs in terms of the business programs. I know for that one because a friend actually shared some information with me regarding those aspects. So you can find some universities like Acadia. They have scholarships for Black students. Sometimes it's tailored to specific countries. You can see for Black students coming from Nigeria, coming from Ghana, taking this course, there's full scholarship for them. So the universities themselves also become more like a platform where you can actually access some of these scholarships. So I've mentioned about you targeting the professors, you targeting the universities themselves because there are scholarship opportunities with them. And the third aspect, I'll talk about the industry or probably the like these private institutions. So in line with the project that I'm doing, I'm also connected to another industry called NITAX because I also submit my results, whatever I got to them, because whilst I was actually going through the process of trying to write those proposals and stuff, I had to go through NITAX. So these are some institutions that you can actually apply to, and then they would actually provide you with some funds. There is another last source of, I'll say, funds that sometimes are made available, and that is the government itself. So there are some government-funded scholarships that targets, I'll say, some developing countries. And these countries, they actually give them some quota. So you come, you study, and sometimes you'd have to return. And for me being here in Canada during my master's, I had the opportunity to go to Norway. And then I went to Norway in that kind of an agreement because I had a full scholarship where I had to go to Norway for 2 years, study, and then I went back home. And then after a while, I applied to Canada, I got the opportunity, and then I came back here. So there are government-funded scholarships that looks at, I'll say, developing countries. And basically, they'll be looking more to African countries. So these are, I would say, the main sources that you can actually access some of these scholarships or funds. But like has been mentioned by Dr. Fisayo, it would be good if you would actually target the professors, the PIs, because they have their projects running, unless you decide to actually provide or pay your fees by yourself. So that is what I would say for now. Just probably there might be some more questions coming up and then we'll find answers to them. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Lots of information going on, but yeah, thank you. Over to you, Samuel. Can you, because this meeting is about navigating through graduate school and then getting through with your career in agriculture. So can you tell us about or advise us on building professional networks, because we need this network in getting to where we need to be, like seeking internships and exploring job opportunities in the agricultural sector in Canada during and after studies. Can you just give an overview of how you can go about it?
Thank you very much. And thank you for that very great question. Just before I answer my question, I'm just going to touch on some of the things Dr. Kenneth and Dr. Fisayo mentioned. There are some transferable skills, right? And so you are not in a complete hold or a complete disadvantage, trying to get into agriculture. So definitely there are always transferable skills. So while you are trying to reach out, highlight, or maybe you are completely not in tune with the agricultural industry, but then there are some transferable skills that still align, with the agricultural industry. For example, in this day and age, even in agriculture, we are talking data analytics and things like that. And so if you have skill in that, that's transferable. There are some research in agriculture that are interdisciplinary or multidisciplinary. So right now at the research station, somebody is not completely an animal science person. He's just a computer science guy, but he's doing something very to alleviate some issues we have in agriculture. So he's trying to sort of like remove the use of skill in the hog market industry, where it's just photo capture and you are able to project the weight, you are able to project back fat and all those things. So those skills are transferable, and agriculture is very vast, So you can highlight some of those skills, that you may have, and that can put you an edge, or that can put you at an advantage. So I was just going to highlight that. And so in response to what Roseline asked, there are some courses you can take. For example, you can go to Coursera. There are some courses about animal handling, animal welfare, animal health management. Those simple courses. Just taking them, having the certification, and sort of like putting it on your CV or talking about it as part of the experience you've gathered over the year can put you at an advantage over somebody who does not. There are agricultural organizations. For example, I was part of the graduate animal science students before I left Nigeria. They call it GAS, graduate, I believe, animal science students. Yeah, before I left Nigeria, I took the exams, I passed the exams. And so those portfolios were part of my application package. That way they were able to recognize that I belong to an agricultural organization from my own country. And if you have been practicing animal science over years, there's another one called RAS. It's called the Registered Animal Scientist. That's part of the animal science body in Nigeria. If you have such kind of affiliations, and you put it on your resume, you put it on, maybe you mention it on your interview. So that gives credibility to the things you are saying. So I'm not very familiar with the crop side for Nigeria or for Africa, but I'm just, citing an example of what I know. And so being part of those organizations, those networking organizations, they can verify, or even from the university you finish from, maybe there are some initiatives for expanding agriculture or something in terms of extension. You can make reference to that. For example, from the school where I graduated from, we have a 1-year internship. Part of it is on the research station in the university, and a part of it is outside of the university, with industry. And that's really exposed me, that gave me, a lot of experiences, and I can put that in my application and, you know, make it stronger and increase my opportunities and chances. And so these are, you know, the things we can do, the networking abilities, you know, back there. But when we come here, the system is really built. You know, you can attend conferences, you can attend workshops. Even as I am right now, I attend, you know, farmers meeting and things like that. And so those present you some opportunities to sort of like network and, you know, increase your capacity. So that would be my answer to that question. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much. Can you help us, like, for those that are not in Nigeria, how can they develop their professional networks? How can they go about it? Can you give us like how to go about it?
Okay, so thank you very much. The other time, Dr. Kenneth was mentioning MyTax. So there's MyTax, the Global Opportunity link. I believe our admin is going to drop that link shortly. I know currently that opportunities for internship is not available in Nigeria right now. But if you're in any other country, I know South Africa, Brazil, there's in Pakistan, I believe in China. So you can get opportunity. You can apply for those things, those internship opportunities. Sometimes it could be a 3-month internship, it can be a 6-month internship. You know, that gives you the opportunity to come and do some sort of, you know, research, connect with people here in Canada, and you know, that opens up a way for you. So an organization like MyTax is a really good one. So you can look forward to that, apply for it. Like I said, that background of, you know, doing your assignments, of aligning your skills, you know, with the opportunity you are looking for is very important, even with applying for these opportunities with MyTax. Also, I also want to say, don't be narrow. Maybe you have a background in monogastric nutrition, for example. I'm going to just make example of what I'm familiar with. And, you know, there's ruminant nutrition. There's an opportunity in ruminant nutrition. You know, there's that transferable skills. Actually, the basic understanding is animal handling, animal welfare, and then you sort of like build on all those opportunities. So don't be narrow-minded that, oh, I only work with swine or chickens. I don't have as much experience with dairy or, you know, with beef cattle. You know, just always try to, you know, expand your scope, expand your horizon, and those transferable skills become very important and essential at that point. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much for that elaborate explanation. So just to add on how I was able to go through this path myself, first off, I am a graduate student at the University of Saskatchewan. And one thing that helped me was the fact that I was able to connect with people via LinkedIn that are already in this process ahead of time. So I was able to connect with them. I was able to let them know what I want to do, and I was able to get a good guide on how I can navigate this path. So you can also include this among other things he did mention. So just a moment, please. Okay, so I can see some of us have been asking questions. Please keep asking your questions and we will answer as time goes. So somebody is asking, I think Dr. Fisayo, this question is for you. So the person says, can I still apply to a research program without a supervisor?
Okay. Thank you for that. I will say for a research program, is not advisable. Because most of these schools will just tell you, oh, maybe you call them, you reach out to them. I remember then when I was searching for supervisor, I reached out to one university in United States, and they told me, go ahead and apply. I told them I've emailed most of the professors. I couldn't get any response. They said, go ahead and apply. At the end of everything, I wasted my application fee. So it's not actually advisable. And this is the reason, because most of the time for research program majorly, those professors, they have their own funding. Though there are sometimes, Dr. Kenneth has mentioned funding, different ways you can get funding, but most of the time they have their own personal funding, like their personal grants. So if you apply through them, you are sure of that you will surely get a scholarship. But if you just apply directly, maybe to the university, then you might not be able to get in. I know for United States, most time when they want to do there, because they need to meet, they will do like a committee meeting before they give you admission. If you don't have a supervisor, there's nobody that will speak for you. But when you are able to reach out to a supervisor, a professor, and the professor assured you, that same professor will be the one that will defend you when they get to their meeting. So I would just advise you to keep trying. That process is not actually easy. I'm seeing so many chats like, oh, they've emailed. Do you want to hear the number of people I emailed during my time? More than 100 as well. In fact, yeah, it got to it because I did my master's in China. Then I was like, due to language barrier and all that, I would like to do my PhD elsewhere, either in Canada or United States. And most times when I tell people, they will just laugh at me that it will not even come to that. It's just a dream, that it will not come to reality. I'm telling you, when I started emailing, like the process, I was emailing people, sending emails, no response. I'm telling you, that's just the fact. It got to a time I was discouraged. I was like, oh, I will just stay in China and just continue my PhD. But I would like to say, I know this is an academic seminar, and most of us, most time, we don't like to hear the word God factor, right? I'm sorry if I offend anyone, but my own personal experience, I can never rule out God factor out. The God factor of a thing is actually very important. When you are sending all these emails, pray about it. Pray for favor. Favor is actually very important, because most of these supervisors, the emails they are getting every day from students, and all of you are good. It's not about you don't have first class. There are so many first class, so many second class upper, so many people with the research experience. You will see the emails. Some of the professors, they don't even bother to open their emails. One of my friends was telling me last week that he has stopped checking emails due to different emails from people and all that. You are all qualified, right? But the place of favor, the place of prayer cannot be ruled out. I'm sorry if I offend anyone. So try that and don't be discouraged. Never be discouraged. It's what you want to get, what you want to achieve. Just keep pushing till you get the results. I have so many people that they are like, oh no, they are not going to email professors again, but they later get one. You only need just 1 yes. You might have 100 no's. Don't care about that. It could be discouraging, right? But just keep pressing till you get that 1 yes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Key thing to take note of, keep pushing. Don't give up. Just keep pushing. And remember the God factor. Very, very important. Samuel?
Yes, I wanted to add something, and you touched on that. And it's still related to networking. Use the resources available. LinkedIn is a very good resource. If you are unable to get the professors, you can at least identify a couple, maybe 1 or 2 students, who is probably a master's student or a PhD student in that department. Get familiar with that person and let the person know, oh, I've been trying to get the attention of so and so professor. You never can tell, you know, that inside friendship you have can be, you know, a stepping stone for you. I've seen people who reached out to me on LinkedIn. Oh, I see you are, you know, you had your master's from the University of Manitoba, this and that. And oh, I've been trying to reach out to professors and things like that. And so I just tell them that, oh, that professor, because I have some inside information, right? Oh, that professor you are trying to reach to does not have funding at the moment. And so maybe that's why the person is not responding to you. Why don't you try this person? You know, some internal information, you know, can be of use or can be very helpful to you. So if you're unable to, majority of the professors too right now, they are also going global. Some of them, I know at the University of Manitoba, you know, they are trying to do some podcasts, you know, to sort of like advance their work and things like that. So use LinkedIn, get connected with somebody who is a current student, master's or PhD, or even a postdoc in that department. Share with them, oh, this is what I've done, this is what I'm trying to get to. Do you have a lead of what is going on in the department? Can you let me know maybe who is looking for students right now and things like that? And so from those inside leads, you might be able to get opportunities. I know somebody, it was later I even got to know that the person is connected to, you know, this platform. That person actually, when the person was leaving England, reached out to me and, you know, this opportunity, that. And I was like, oh, I just coached the person a little bit. And I don't want to mention the person's name right now, but you'll be surprised that the person is now a professor. You understand? And so just having those internal connections, using the resources available to you can really be of good help. Thank you.
Okay. Dr. Kenneth, over to you.
Okay, thank you. I just want to add something little to what has already been said. The honest truth is now there's been a lot of challenges with regards to the recruitment of, I would say, students because of a lot of immigration policies that the government has actually initiated. So I read through a lot of the questions that are saying I have sent a lot of emails and there are no response. I've like made a lot of contacts and yet I'm not getting any response and all of those things. The honest truth is, in the university where I am, last 2 months, or no, I'll say about 6 months ago, we received a message from our president indicating that there's been a huge budget cut. And so there is a total freeze on hiring. So you could tell, and that message is just trying to go back to the point that we are not getting international students because of the federal policies that have been actually put in place. So the honest truth of the situation is now trying to actually get on board new people becomes very challenging for the universities. So you are definitely going to have that challenge of probably no response, of probably I'll say some supervisors telling you that they don't actually have funds because there's been like we'll say a breakdown on international students coming into play. So that is one challenge that you have to actually take note of. And there is another important point that someone actually mentioned that has to do with getting in contact with internal people. I actually wanted to make that point. It's very important in the sense that you go online, you're able to identify the professors of your interest. That same platform, you'll be able to know the number of students that that professor is actually supervising. You can look through those names, pick point 1 or 2 people, you can message them, and then sincerely speaking, some of them can help you secure that opportunity you're looking for. I know friends who have actually helped out when other people contacted them because they are members of that particular lab. So they are able to convince their supervisors that, oh, you're actually looking for somebody and here is an email that came to you, but probably you haven't seen it, but the person contacted me. And so that person can actually help you by working things out. So that's a little I just wanted to add.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Another question for you, Dr. Ken. So I know you did talk about fundings that are available. So we have a question here, if you can still reiterate what you said on mentioning or telling us about available government-funded scholarships, and how they can access such. Just give us a brief overview again. It seems like this person missed it.
Okay, so like I used my own example to actually justify that point, but there are some applications here which I've just opened a particular link, which is actually open to, like I would say, all international students to actually apply. But as I mentioned, there is this challenge of universities trying to, like the government in total, trying to restrict a lot of entry in terms of the students coming in because of their immigration policies. But I will post in the chat in response to that particular question in relation to the funding, the scholarships. I would drop a link here. So there is this Vanilla scholarship, which goes to, I'll say, like great scholars all over the world. But majorly, as I mentioned, the universities, specific universities have, I'll say, these scholarships that goes out to international students. And like I mentioned, I have Acadia. I've actually forgotten a few of them. I just had like a lot of links actually down that sometimes I send to friends that they specifically look for students from, I'll say, either Ghana or Nigeria for some specific courses. So if you actually fall in that line, then there is a high possibility that you can actually get, I'll say, those scholarships. So without just saying so much stuff, I'll just try and get a link and then post over here so that people can actually follow. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you, everyone, so far for your questions, and I hope we've been able to answer some of these questions. So, Dr. Fisayo, I have a question here for you. Can you guide or can you tell us on how to go about selecting programs that aligns to getting supervisors, that align to supervisors we look for, or just give us step-by-step process also on how to select programs that would align to our career goals. Because I know definitely in the aspect of research, your research interest has to align to the supervisor you are trying to reach out to. Also, we have a question here that says, what can you say about course-based programs, the advantages and disadvantages? We can just answer all of this together. That would be great. Thank you.
Thank you, Roseline. So regarding course-based program, I would say it's a good one, right? The only thing is the only difference between the course-based and the research-based most of the time is you don't really have to write the thesis, right? The dissertation. And most time the course-based are actually shorter duration compared to the thesis-based one. It's good if you find, and most of the course-based program, the good thing is most of them don't even require supervisor. You can apply to them directly. There are some schools, they have that. So you can try to go online and search. If you find that kind of opportunity, it's something you can also do as well. Most of the course-based program are just 1 year program, and you may not also get stipend as well, for course-based program. But for research-based, you know that you are coming for research, the grant is already available, then you will also get fund, right? So that is just what I would say about that. I don't know if Kenneth can add to that.
Course-based. Okay, so with the course-based programs, sincerely, it is good, but my main problem, or my main point that I would give to people that are trying to just focus on course-based, that sometimes it becomes a challenge if you want to delve into the research aspect, because you need, I'll say, a practical knowledge. And you see, in the outside world, one thing that they actually put premium on is your practical experience, your ability to do things. So with the knowledge right now, if I sit and I Google something, I'll be able to find all the information that I require. But how can you practicalize the knowledge that you have? So course-based programs are good, but the advice that personally I would give to you is to try to look for something that you get a practical experience from, because there is more premium on that experience as compared to just the knowledge aspect of it.
Yeah, all right. Thank you. And okay, I think Samuel wants to say something.
Yes, I was going to add to that it really depends on what you want to achieve. Just like Dr. Kenneth said, if you are looking for, or if you are looking at further studies, like going into your PhD, going into like core research, then a course-based program is not for you. You want to go to a thesis-based program. But if you don't really mind that, I just want something to, gain the knowledge of industry and then start to work right away, then maybe that might be a consideration. Because believe it or not, there's something called sub to Canadian experience or Canadian education. Like, it's a really big one. So it depends on the end in mind. And so that might be an opportunity. And also bear in mind, there are no fundings available for course-based programs. So it means you are going to sponsor your tuition and everything from start to finish. And maybe I have a better advice for you. If you don't mind, maybe going for a diploma program will be better, because diploma programs gives you more hands-on experience as opposed to just sitting down in classes and taking course-based programs. So if you go for maybe a 1-year diploma course in maybe agri-business or in animal, handling technology or production, whatever, that gets you into the root of getting some practical knowledge, some hands-on, and right there and there, I can guarantee you a job might be waiting for you even after the end of that 1 year or that 2-year program. And so maybe that might be a better option if you have all the funding, all the resources available to pay for it. And really going into the academia is not something you really want to do. You just want something to get out to a new place and experience life in a new place. Maybe that's a better option as opposed to going for a course-based program. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much to our beloved panelists for the awesome guide we've been getting so far. So I'm still on. So this question is for you, Samuel. So can you tell us about for graduate students, because I'm a graduate student and my fellow graduate student here. Can you tell us on how we can get support resources within the university, including academic advisors, and how we could go about managing our mental health through our research and courses?
Right, thank you so much. So to be very honest, graduate studies is not child's play. Understanding that, wherever you, maybe you're from Africa or from South America or from Asia, farming is totally different, or the studying techniques, studying methods, it's totally different from, where we are coming from. I experienced that, shock at first, but having that mindset to succeed, having that open mind and willingness to learn is very important. So aside from that inner and that personal motivation you bring to, succeeding yourself, there are other groups, available on campus to help you. You have associations that are affiliated with your own country. For example, we have Ghanaian associations, we have Nigerian associations, we have people from Chinese, we have the association, people from Brazil, South America. So all those associations are always there, to help. If you need any, quick support, you can always run to them. Those are, like outside of the community, outside community associations within the university. Each department or each faculty have their associations. Even there are some scholarships available through those associations that you can take advantage of. That's always available. And beyond that, you have associations that are related to your faith, maybe your church or your mosque, or depending on which religious affiliation you have. Those associations are there. Within the university, we have academic advisory. You can reach out to advisors if you have challenge selecting your courses. Those things are there. So those are really the top associations we have. If you have health issues and challenges, we have medical centers, to assist in that regard. So just know that you are not alone. Like I said earlier on, always connect with somebody, who deeply resonates with all your values and stuff, and those people will be able to help you. Thank you. Other panelists can as well contribute to that question. Thanks.
Yeah. Just to add to what Samuel said, I would say getting a mentor is actually very important. From like even your admission process, your graduate study is actually very important. You really need a mentor, because most time you have somebody to always reach out to, talk to, advise you, because graduate studies is not a child play. I don't know the country like you are joining from, but in Canada, it's not a child play. United States is not a child play. Even in Asia, it's not a child play. So I will say that getting a mentor is actually very, very important. And you must be willing to learn. If you are not ready to learn, forget about it. You must actually be willing to learn. And one thing about the graduate studies here, it's quite different, kind of, because most times, maybe you join a lab, you have to do the lab work. And most of the time, your supervisor or your professor will not be there for you to do the work for you. Because the reason why he or she actually maybe bring you in is just for you to do the job, right? So you have to learn those skills and you have to do those works yourself. That is why it's always important. I used to advise people that it's good, though it's always good, like people will say, oh, we can change our career. But for me, I will advise you that if you have been in animal science right from time, it's always good to continue in that path. Maybe you've been in maybe let me say crop science, for example. It's good to continue, because sometimes maybe you change from crop science to genetics, for example. In genetics, you need to know how to use different maybe Python, different programming language. Then you come in, you thought it's just effect of something on crop that you'll be doing. Then you get here, they will ask you to go and be learning all those programming skills. If you don't have the background, you will be frustrated. So it's always good. Opportunities are good sometimes, but it's good that allow them to align to what you've done previously. Then I will just add to the question Roseline earlier asked regarding the issue of your research skills and your supervisor. Then, like what I mentioned earlier, you go to the university website to search those professors' name. Most times, most of the universities, when you click on their names, it will show you what they are currently working on, their research interest. Some will even show you the available grants. You can see the grant that, oh, they have grant on this kind of projects. So that when you are sending them emails, you know the kind of email, right, to send to them. For example, maybe you've done animal science before in Africa or anywhere you are joining from. The good thing about the undergraduate studies is that most time the animal science of 18 is kind of broad, right? Sorry, I'm using animal science because that is my background. It's also applicable to all background. Then you know that this animal science is broad. You can fit in into animal nutrition. You can still fit in into animal production. You can fit in into animal welfare. You can fit in into any aspect. So if you find a supervisor, a professor, maybe in animal nutrition, for example, or animal production, you can reach out to that kind of person. For example, my undergraduate days, what I did majorly for my project was more of molecular biology, but the supervisor I worked on for my master's, it was more of like gut microbiome. So it's still kind of aligned. Then my PhD was a mixture of like nutrition, also gut microbiome. Yeah. So I would just say that doing that, there are some people that maybe their background is in fish. Don't limit yourself. You can get in animal science. If you've done animal science before, you can still get in fish nutrition. It's still the same thing. It's all about nutrition. Maybe you've done microbiome. I have a friend that is doing his PhD in human microbiome. It's just the same skill. You will still extract the same DNA, the same pipeline, the same bioinformatics pipeline. So it's the same thing. It's just you able to defend what you have, what you can do. You can do this thing. You have the research skill. So it's all about that. Yeah, thank you. Other people can add.
Dr. Kenneth, do you have something for us?
Oh, yeah, just to actually take it from where Dr. Fisayo actually ended. Sincerely, so from what she said, I did crop science in my undergrad. In my master's, I did molecular biology in Norway. When I came here, I'm still doing crop science. And what she said is very true in the sense that the molecular aspects, they are basically the same things. The DNA from the plant, it's probably the same process you're going to follow. So like just look at ways that you can modify those skills and you can make them applicable in both sides. Yes. So for me like this, there are some skills that you can easily adapt, you can easily learn. So I've learned so many skills over the time, and just as have actually been mentioned here, sincerely, graduate study, it's no child's play. There's a lot that goes into it. And one advice, in addition to all that has been said, I would say make very good, I'll say good friends or good contacts. One thing is there is always that availability for you to reach out to your instructors or your professors if you are having specific challenges. And sincerely, they are like we find ourselves in a country where the welfare of people matters to them. So once you are having challenges, just make that contact. And once you make that contact, they would actually help you out, find a solution. Yes, just to help you settle that problem. So I would say make very good friends because information flows when you're able to get very good people around you. And once you get those people, you'll be able to actually access some of the information that you are actually requesting for and try to more or less ask questions. I realized that we come and we try to keep to ourselves. And that is one challenge that people actually have when they travel into other countries. They try to keep to themselves. They don't want to actually open up. They don't want to actually share their problems. And it ends up actually affecting them in the longer term. So the point is just try and keep very good friends. Try and access your supervisors as much as possible. And the last point, which I think it's also very important, we have a challenge of trying to read. We find it very difficult to try and I'll say do things on our own, like try to find information. A very good example, when I traveled to Norway, my first semester my first semester, I read as though I have never read before. The amount of material I read in that first semester, just from August to December, it was more than my 4 years undergraduate studies. So it tells you like the workload. There is a lot of work that needs to be involved. You have to be prepared that you need to do things independently. And it's been mentioned by Samuel and then Fisayo. It's been mentioned by them. You have to try to be independent. You have to find things out for yourself. Be prepared to actually read. And that is the bottom line. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I've just give a summary of all they've said. First thing first, they all mentioned about creating relationship, creating friendship, having mentorship, like reaching out to people, asking questions, asking guidance on how to go about it. It will actually really ease the process. They also mentioned about having skills and finding a way to connect your skills from what you've done before to what you want to do and presenting it to your supervisor. That way you'll be able to navigate through the journey successfully. Yes. So we are really moving forward. And so I have this question for Samuel. Can you tell us about exploring various careers opportunities that are available within the agricultural sector in Canada or like other places such as the US, if possible? Yes, thank you.
Okay. So the agricultural landscape right now is like really evolving. Just like I hinted on the other time, agriculture is going from traditional agriculture to, using modernized technologies. Agriculture is going from, practices that do not support the environment to more sustainable practice. And so it's now very important to position yourself in these growing trends, right? And so if you've done things related to sustainability right now, every professor, writing grants and stuff like that, they have to be talking about sustainability because that is what brings the money out. And so if you are listening to me right now and you've done a lot of work regarding sustainability, reducing carbon emission and all those things, those are the things selling right now. So, and you see a professor, who is trying, develop work in that area, just key into it. Align with all those skills, those things you have, you have learned how to reduce carbon emission, how to, the best agricultural practices, that leads to reduced emissions. And you've done some things in that area, you have some expertise, that's an opportunity for you right there. We talk about big data. There's so many data we collect in the agricultural space that we've not been able to put meaning to, or we've not been able to sort of make sense out of it. And you are somebody who is, really good with data, with Python, with, coding and all those things. That's a big space for you. You understand? Maybe sort of like making sense of all those agricultural data that leads to, organizations making very informed decisions. That's a very big one. Dr. Fisayo and Dr. Kenneth just mentioned molecular biology. Right now, there's that reduction in the use of antimicrobial growth promoters and things like that, especially in animal production. And so if you have done a lot of work in, aligning to growth microbiome and stuff like that, because that is really the smallest unit to test those things, to see if, really things are happening right there. that's a big space. Professors are trying to take a lot of byproducts, raw materials, and convert them to food for animal consumption, as opposed to dumping them and being a waste product. And you've done some things related to that from home country, from Africa, China, and you have experiences relating to that. That's a very big one. So just understanding, just from the few things I've mentioned, the things that are trendy, where the global agricultural production is, moving towards, and you have some skills that align in that area, always positioning yourself to take advantage of those will be very important. Thank you.
Okay. Dr. Fisayo, I know you did mention that you work with Agriculture Canada. So can you also give us more insight on what the trend Agriculture Canada is focusing on at the moment, and how students or students and international students can actually make use of this opportunity?
All right, thank you. Currently now in Agri-Food Canada, my center, I'm currently working at the Lethbridge Research and Development Center in Alberta. Majorly for all the animal science departments, their focus is majorly on methane emission, because that's the goal right now. That's the hot cake right now. So that's what most of the people are focusing on. And some are also doing microbiome, rumen microbiology, but all still relate to the how to reduce methane in ruminant animals. So for students, I will advise that, because right now, if you check for you to get into any government job in Canada, they have this kind of this website, GC Jobs. If you go to that website, you type GC Jobs and you try to search like the current opportunities, you will see some current opportunities. And some of them right now are currently hiring students. They call the program RAP, Research Affiliates Program, that as a student, you can be in one university, then you can be working there, doing your research and everything. And I think it's a very good one, because as a student, it's very easy to get into AAFC or maybe other government jobs. So I would advise that it's something that you can look into. It's actually very good for students, because you will gain research, different kind of research experience. Yeah, so that's just what I would say. So it's not only in animal science, depending on the kind of field you are, you will see opportunities there on microbiome, antimicrobial resistance. As at last week, I know there is one on antimicrobial resistance, PhD students, and they want the person to resume in January. So it's something you can check. And there's also another one on microbiology as well, mycology. So it's something you can just search. And for plant as well, there are so many opportunities on that. But one thing there is you have to be like a student currently for you to apply. If you are not a student in any university, they might not give it to you. So you need to get an admission in a university first before you apply. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you. So first off, you need to be a student to be able to have access to these opportunities in Agri-Food Canada. Okay, so
yeah, for the RAP program. Yeah, I said for the yeah, I think your question is for international student, right? Yes, for the RAP program. Yeah.
Okay. Just but also this question is for you. I know you were talking about how studying in Asia or United States or Canada is not easy. Can you talk about the academic structure, the grading system, the classroom dynamics, and the study techniques that can make one to be successful in this journey of graduate study?
Okay, thank you. So I'm just thinking of where to start. Okay, let me start from China because it's kind of a different experience. China education system compared to this Canada system. So for China, most times it's just the grading system is kind of similar anyway. Because for Nigeria, for example, I know in our country there, if you have 70, you are like an excellent student, it's an A, right? But for China, even Canada, 70 is not an A. You need to have like 90 or 90 plus. So for you to really know that the standard is quite high, so you need to have like 90 plus. And one thing about the study here is there are a lot of maybe group work, assignments. It's not only your final exam that counts. Your assignments, like your presentation, there are some courses that they will ask you to do presentation. Some courses will ask you to write a term paper. Some people call it like a review paper, depending on what the professor term it. But try your best. Don't rely on your final grade. Like, don't, because most time, the final exam will only cover 30%, most times, with what I've personally experienced. So it's always good for you that, like, some people will do midterm, you do like midterm exam, you do like different quiz, different things. So make sure like you try all your best. You don't wait till your final exam before you acquire your grade. And another thing is regarding let me say the research part now. I would say it's kind of similar because in China, they expect you to do everything. Like it's your work. That's what I would say. I remember for my master's then, the first meeting I had with my supervisor then in China, he told me the project I'll be working on. And that was all. We just discussed the project. So I had to like figure it out. How will I do this? I had to like, oh, how do I need to get these chickens? Where will I buy them from? But the only good thing is they have most of the materials you need in the lab, right? You don't need to worry about that. But all the planning, nobody will do it for you. You have to do those plans yourself. You do everything yourself. You go to the lab yourself. You do everything. And I think after 3 months, my supervisor was like, okay, Fisayo, do you have a manuscript draft? I was like, draft? I was just laughing, you know? So, and that is it. In China, like you have to do the work. That's what I'm saying, that it's actually good for you, that you should be determined. I think some of the things that helped me there is YouTube become my best friend. EDX, I don't know if you know EDX, like it's an online learning platform that you can learn some of the things yourself. You go there yourself. It's like personal development. Yeah, I would say that most of these graduate studies is like personal development. If you are hoping that, oh, you will just come and you will just sit down there, one professor will do everything for you. You are not ready for graduate study yet. You must, because you have to do the personal development, you have to read those things yourself. Sometimes I'll go to the library, search for textbooks on microbiology and all that. Though I've done molecular biology in Nigeria, right? But you cannot really compare that with the one I met in China. I was like, oh, am I really sure it was molecular biology I did in Nigeria? Because it was very different. Yet nobody will do the extraction for you. You have to figure everything yourself. You have to go to the website, how to get primer, how to order. You do all those things yourself. So, and one thing about China system is this: asking question. I would say asking question is a sin. When you ask people question, maybe your lab mates question, they will be like, oh, maybe you're a dullard, you don't know anything when you ask questions. So because of that, you have to do all those work yourself. But coming to Canada is kind of a different thing, because I remember the first class I attended here in Canada, I asked the question in the class. The professor was so happy to answer me. I was like, wow, this is really a big change, because here they are willing, like you can discuss with your professor, you can tell them, oh, this is where you are in your program, and they can help you. They won't, though they are not the one that will do the lab work for you, but it's not that you will be the only one to carry the 100%, right? Because Canada, it's a country that care about they care about your well-being. There is human rights kind of a thing. Yeah. So it's something that, oh, you still have a professor to run to, you are facing these kind of issues. But most time I would just advise, as a graduate student, don't have this mind that your professor has to do anything for you, because you are the one that say you want to pursue a master's. It's a further studies. PhD is a further studies. So it must also be a personal decision, like, oh, I'm willing to learn everything I need to learn, anything I need to know for you to succeed. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Key takeaways from here is have the determination to want to learn and make that decision to want to go through the process, and look for means of learning, such as you did mention EDX, so you can find that out on Google. And
yeah, there's also Coursera.
Oh, yeah, Sarah too. Yes. Dr. Kenneth, I think this question is also for you. So can you also tell us about your experience while doing your PhD in Canada and master's in Norway?
Yeah, so I would actually take it from this point. I've always told friends that there are three things that would make your program quite successful. One, the type of supervisor you get. Two, the type of project you are enrolled in. And three, the people around you. And I think Dr. Fisayo has touched on some of them in some interesting ways. And the reason why I say this is I've had experience with different supervisors, you see, and the different supervisors will make different inputs, different contributions. Like she highlighted, in China, it's all to yourself. Go and do it, and then come. You just have one meeting, and that is it. Sometimes it is also with the person, that is the student, the graduate student, because if you don't draw near to your supervisor, he or she wouldn't actually mind you. He or she would assume that things are actually going well with you. So most often, sincerely, you have to know the type of supervisor you are going in for. There are some supervisors who are very good in trying to associate with students. Some of them are not perfectly good when it comes to those aspects. Some of them, sincerely, they are not even around for you to actually meet with. Some supervisors are actually around constantly for you to more or less engage them in some of your challenges. And so Fisayo puts it as both of you are carrying the burden. So it's not 100% you, but your supervisor actually plays a role in trying to take off some burden from you. So that is it. And also the aspect of the project becomes very, very important. Sincerely, if you don't do your research about the project and you just delve into it, sometimes you get a shock of your life. Fisayo mentioned her molecular stuff. Sincerely, I also did a little bit of molecular, but when I went into my master's program, as I said, I read as though my 4-year undergraduate had never read that much before, because it looks as if all that I was being post-molecular biology seemed a bit new to me. I had to read a lot. So sincerely, graduate studies can actually take you by surprise, especially if you are not prepared. But you have to be focused with the mindset that you constantly have to read. You constantly have to read. In my PhD, I delved into an area that I wasn't so familiar with. So I had to actually spend lots of time trying to read as well, gain some skills to be very good in that aspect. And then, like I'll say, I went through. So sometimes what happens is both with the graduates and then with the PhD, when you sit down with your supervisors, they can actually map out a strategy for you, or you can come out with a strategy that, okay, you are doing this, and based on recommendation from your supervisor or maybe your committee members, they would advise that you take this particular course, you take this particular training, because you would require some of those training in your project or in the research that you are practically undertaking. So that is those aspects with I'll say the graduate study. I will try to end here because of time restraints. Yeah. So I'll just hand over back to you, Roseline.
Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So he said, know your supervisor. Find out about how your supervisor wants things to be done or how things are being done in the lab. So you have to relate with other lab members that were there before you and know how they have been relating with their supervisors. Also read and research on your research, okay? And then also relationship is also important. Create a relationship with your supervisor. That would help you a long way. So participants, you can still ask your questions, okay? Please ask your questions. While I would ask Samuel, do you have anything for the attendees to go with today as they pursue this pathway?
Yes. So I would quickly tell my story, and hopefully you can get something from that. And so it's all, it all cut across everything we have been talking today. So I had always known that after my undergraduate degree, I want to get like international education. So I was focused on that. And so when the opportunity started to do that, I started to reach out. Trust me, I was in the position of so many of you. I reached out to, a couple of professors in the US. And I think I was basically focused on Canada and the United Kingdom. At that point in time, I had really not known about the country called Canada. Oh, sorry, on USA and the United Kingdom, because that was where I felt I had some connection. And so I've not heard about Canada. And so I don't know, some way, somehow in my search, I came across the country called Canada. I got to know that there's a university called University of Manitoba that offers, programs in agriculture, just like Dr. Oretomiloye talked about. I started searching. And so my undergraduate research was something different. We were dealing with, reproduction, trying to expose rabbits to ultraviolet radiation. And then, it was somehow connected, and then using some nutritional supplements with antioxidants to sort of like ameliorate that the effect of exposure to ultraviolet radiation. I didn't know at that point in time that I had started to get some hands-on research. So it's very important to get something doing. I like your transferable skills, and so those were the things I put in my application. I reached out. Luckily, I guess professors were not that busy then as they are right now. I would say some people responded back to me. Somebody never responded, and when I got to the department, I was like, oh, I applied to you. Oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't respond, that kind of thing. But anyways, so I was sort of like streamlining it to my area of interest and things like that. Then at some point, I became so frustrated, and then I just blew out the email because I already knew that, okay, it's University of Manitoba for me. So I just blew out the email, send it to all like the dairy professor, the meat science guy, the nutrition, everything. And so somebody was kind enough to reach out to me at first that, oh, I don't have funding right now, things like that. That was at my first reaching out. So when I blasted out the email, so I don't know what happened. Maybe some of them like, have you seen this guy that is just emailing everybody? Honestly, to be honest, I don't know what happened, but I feel like I knew what happened eventually, and I'm going to get to that. So I just blasted out the email. So and I believe it was God too. You know, that Dr. Fisayo mentioned the God factor, and then being very focused. And so he responded back to me and said, "Oh, okay, I can take you on, although I'm retiring soon. Then I can have, you know, my professional associate, you know, sort of like co-supervise me and stuff like that." And so that was how I started the journey. So I came, and after all the admission processes, connecting, networking. And so I knew that I didn't want to depart from my faith, from where I was, you know, worshiping when I was in Nigeria. And so I was looking for somewhere specific. And so that's where networking comes into play. And then I was looking at the, you know, department, the international student website, and I was like, oh, okay, there are people of faith that are connected to where I belong. And so I reached out. I started doing my networking even before I left the home country. And luckily enough, I wouldn't have been here without good mentorship. And so I came into good hands, and I don't want to start mentioning, but I came into good hands, the good hands of Dr. You know, Adewale. I was so lucky. My journey was just orchestrated. It was just, you know, planned by God and everything. I was sharing the same office with Dr. Adewale. And so right there and there, I had a good mentor already. And, you know, I was working on the same project. It was like a continuation of what she was. So I had a good mentor. I had somebody to teach me, somebody to walk me through the process and everything. You know, I was humble enough to learn. It was difficult in the first year. I had issues with my co-advisor and things like that. But anyways, everything worked out okay. I finished my program. I graduated. Connection again. And so, you know, I had some, you know, some delay, you know, while I was, you know, trying to get my result and everything. And so I wanted to put my time into good use. And so I look for opportunities around the university, what I can lay hold on. And so that got me to the research station where I'm working today right now. And so I made a very good connection, good friendship with those people. And at some point, I went outside of Canada to the US. I got some experience, came back again, and I needed a job like badly. Like what I was doing, I wanted to go back to animal science. What I was doing was not, you know, very connected. I want to get my roots back and everything. And I reached out to one of those guys I worked with as a student, and I was like, oh, right now, there's no opportunity. When one becomes available, we'll let you know. And so that is the power of connection. That is the power of, you know, don't burn the bridges behind you. Make good connections, be hardworking with the help of God. You know, you get the right, you know, the right direction. And oh, okay, there's this the person reached out to me. There's a 6-month, you know, casual position. Would you like to try that out? I was like, yeah, why not? I'm going to try that out. Like I always wanted opportunity to go back to agriculture. And so I tried that out. I showed them that I was competent with the help of God. You know, that relationship building was, and so that's what led me to where I am today. And that's why, you know, all able, our stories are different, our journeys are different, but this platform has brought us together to be able to impact you and to be able to share some of our knowledge. So I believe that story summarizes everything that we have talked about today. Connect, transferable skills, don't burn the bridges, hardworking, and with the help of God, you surely get to where you want. Thank you.
Thank you. The story is very, very interesting, I must say. You did mention on sending emails to different supervisors. I know there's it's controversial. So Dr. Fisayo and Dr. Ken, can you tell us more about this? If it's advisable to send emails to different supervisors in the same department or not, or in the same school?
Okay. Yeah, thank you. I will just say this. It's good, but you need to be careful because some of them, they are very close, and yeah, some of them are very close. So what I normally tell people is this: if you send email to a supervisor, you give them maybe 2 weeks and you are not getting any response, you can try another person. But mailing all of these supervisors at the same time is not a very good one, because I remember there was a time I emailed a professor and she was like, okay, I will forward your CV and your transcript to another colleague of mine that might be interested. Imagine if I've emailed that colleague as well. So it's always good to like wait, at least give them like 2 weeks, 1 week, and just before sending emails to other people. Yeah, so that's just what I would say. Yeah, because I also have somebody that I think he emailed almost everyone in the department, and like 3 supervisor replied him right with a positive email, and he was kind of confused, like, oh no. So sometimes it's actually good to like hold on and see, right? Yeah, before sending it to other people. That's what I would say. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Ken?
Yeah, I think Dr. Fisher has actually hammered the point. Yeah, because I wanted to stress that once you send, give the person time to see what the response will be. If there is no response, as we've all said, try to get someone internal. If still that doesn't work, then probably you can move on to the next one. But there is something that I just wanted to push across. There is something we call the designated learning institutions. And there's been a lot of issues regarding the kind of institutions that people apply to. There are some institutions that are not, I would say, the federal government doesn't necessarily allow to rope in, I'll say, international students. So it's called designated learning institutions. You would have to actually apply to those schools before you'd be able to carry on with your other processes with regards to study permits and then visa processing to come into Canada. So it's just an information I'm just pushing out that as you are searching for the schools, searching for the professors and all of those things, try to look out for the designated learning institutions. That is something that will become very important. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Dr. Ken, do you have anything for us?
Basically, we've said it all. Yes. Basically, we said it all. Yeah, yeah. But
Okay.
all I'll just say is that sincerely, we are not living in normal times. Things are quite tough, things are quite difficult, and things might have been easier or simpler maybe 4 years ago, but now things have been more challenging. And sincerely speaking, the scholarships that I'm seeing are all internal. They would actually state they need someone within. They need someone within, and they don't want someone outside. So it becomes very, very difficult. Initially, when I came, I saw a lot of opportunities that were requested for people outside. But now every scholarship that I see is mostly within. So it becomes very difficult. So I'll say that we should still keep pushing. And with God on our side, definitely those doors of opportunities will be flung open.
Yeah.
Dr. Fisayo.
All right. Yeah, just to add to what Kenneth said, just keep pushing. And I always tell people, don't put your head in one basket. Don't focus on Canada alone. Why Canada? I know it's like the dream of everybody. I want to go to Canada. Try United States. There are so many opportunities in United States. I have so many people with second-class upper getting direct PhD, fully funded scholarship for PhD in the United States. Focus on United States, focus on China. There are so many scholarships in China, fully funded, PhD masters. So don't put your head in one basket. Sometimes you might find yourself in a country. It might just be like a stopover, right, to the next country. So that's what I would say. If you are trying Canada, maybe you are trying all the professors and they are not responding, instead of waiting, because time is actually important. There's also one thing, most of the professors, maybe you send them emails, they will also check the year you graduate, right? Maybe you finished 2014. 2014, you finish your undergraduate, and you are just sending email now that you want to do masters. That's like 10 years. They will ask question, right? What have you been doing in that 10 years? So your time as well is always like it's moving. Yeah, because of time, I just need to wrap up now. So I would say you only need a single yes. No, so just keep pushing till you get the yes. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. So everyone, let's give it up to our amazing panelists. I believe they have done a great job answering our questions and setting us on track for this part we are all seeking to go to. Thank you so much, everyone, for making our time to be part of today's session. And then we would be meeting in January 25th and to have another webinar with interesting topic and an invited speaker. So yeah, if you can still drop your questions. I should have mentioned it since, but you can still drop your questions and the answers would be updated on the IYCA website. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. Thank you for your participation. Thank you for your questions. Thank you, and we wish you all the best in your academic pursuits. Yes, thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.